Hello guys, welcome back to our live session. Hope you guys are getting updated with our live sessions, which is conducting from Monday till Friday and Saturday. Uh, welcome back to the Revit MEP live sessions. In today's session, we'll be discussing about two topics specifically. We'll be talking about the linking in Revit and about spaces, which are options mostly used by the MEP engineers in the software or in the industry. Okay, so what is linking and what is spaces? Let me give you a brief idea about it before we start the session. So linking is basically an option in Revit where you can link not only Revit files, or you can link various other files into your project, so that you can put that as a reference and start creating your MEP work, or you can start creating your routings and all that based on that reference. It's similar to XREF in AutoCAD. I hope all of you know about XREF in AutoCAD. Like, we'll be putting external references in AutoCAD, so that based on those references we can start working on our file. So similar to that, here we call that as linking. So we have the option to link various files into Revit, and we can then start working on our project. Okay. Similarly, spaces is an option which we use specifically for getting to know more about the room or the space in your architectural file. For example, let's say you want to know the area of the room, you want to know the volume, you want to know the calculation part. Like, let's say we want to do the calculation in Revit. So for all those purposes, we'll be using, or we need to use spaces for that. Without using spaces, you won't be able to get the proper requirement of the loads, or you won't be getting the specific details about the particular area without providing the spaces. So spaces, again, which is like definitely used by the MEP engineers for the purpose of getting to know more about the details of the rooms or the space, and to also do, if you are intending to do the calculation in Revit, you can use the space option. So let's start with it. This is basically like setting up your project initially. So let's see how to do it. Okay. So I have already opened a project here. Okay, a new one actually. Starting from scratch here. As you can see, we don't have any files in the drawing window. We are just having a blank page or blank window here. Let's start by placing or linking an architectural file, which is what I need to start with my MEP routing or MEP model or project. So here, when you go over the top, we talked about the interface in the last session. So if you want to insert a file, which can be a Revit file or a CAD file or any other type of files into Revit, you have the insert tab over here where you can click on it and you will find various options to link files. You have the default Revit linking here, which means you can link the Revit file here. You can also link various other files like IFC, CAD files. Even in the new version of 2020, we have the option to even import PDF files. In the 2021, we even have the option to insert, even to link the PDF files, not import. You can link PDF files in the new version. We'll be having a session regarding the new features of 2021 in the upcoming live sessions. So here, as you can see, we have different formats which we can link to our project. In Right now, what I want to do is I want to link the Revit file. So I have a Revit file here with me, which is the architectural file. I want to link it and I want to start working on it, and I want to do the spaces and everything. So let's start by clicking on link Revit, and the Revit shows you a window to select the specific file where you have in your drive or in your server. Wherever it is, you can just browse through it, and let me open the file here. Okay. So you can see that we have a file here. It's a small file, a sample file here. So we have the file here. Okay, we have linked it now. So once you link it, it's always better to click on the link, and you have an option to pin that file. Okay, and while we link an architectural file, we do have different options. Like, let me show you. So while you link a file, you have different options here for the positioning of your file. So you have the option to position your file based on the origin of your architectural file to the origin of your current file or your MVP file. You have the option to go with internal origin to origin based on base point of your project, or by using the shared coordinates. So if your architecture has provided you the coordinates of the file, you can go with the shared coordinates option here. But right now I'm going for this option called internal origin to origin. So let me click on open, and you will find that coming aligned to the internal origin of our file. So both the internal origins of the files will be uh, positioned together, right? Now most of the people, what they do, they like, once they link the file, they right away start with working on the project. Okay, but there is one thing which happens without your knowledge. Sometimes when you will click on this file or the link, and when you drag it, you will find that it's getting changed. It's changing the position of the file. Uh, while working on the project, you won't know whether it's getting changed or not. Like when you zoom in and you work on something, later on, let's say you by mistake you clicked on the link, and even while using the cursor keys here, you will find that it's actually changing the position, right? So if you don't want that to happen, we have an option called pin option. Okay, you can click on the link file, and you have the option to pin that file, and we have a shortcut for that, which is pn. So we have a lot of shortkeys here, or we can assign shortkeys in Revit. We'll be discussing that. So here for the pin option, we have the shortcut pn, or when you click on the link, you will be getting a contextual tab. So this is called the contextual tab, where you have the pin option here. Okay, so let me click on the pin option, and you'll find that now you have a pin symbol over here, and when you try to click and drag it now, you won't be able to do it. So this makes sure that your link, once it's positioned to your project, it's not changing the position. Okay, so it's very important to pin the file. Okay, this happens for a lot of people. So make sure your file is pinned once you link the file. Okay, so now I have linked the file. Now let's talk about spaces. Okay, for spaces, I told you it's being used for the calculation part and everything. So we have the spaces coming in our analyze tab. Okay, you'll find the analyze tab over here just beside the annotate tab here. So inside the analyze tab, we have a separate panel itself for the spaces and zones. You can see this is what we use for adding the spaces and all that. We have various options in the spaces. We'll be looking into that today. So when you try to add a space here, let me just show you when we add the space here. So let me click on space, let me move it over here. You will find that it's not actually getting detected over here. Okay, so this again happens for a lot of people. They'll try to click on a space and try to provide the space in a room, but they won't be able to detect the boundary of the room, right? So what we have to do is, initially when you start by start adding the spaces, before that just click on your link file. In the properties panel you will find the edit type option, right? So in the edit type we have the constraints option where we have the room bounding, which is unticked now. So only if you tick on this room bounding option, then only your space can detect the room boundary. Okay, so let me tick on this one and let's click OK here. Now when you go for space, and if you have a height specified, you can provide the height here. You can also go for the elevation view to check the height of your file. Okay, so let me keep it as 4 meter, and let me start by adding the spaces here. So you can see now the spaces are actually getting detected. Hope you can see it. See, for each room the space is actually detecting the boundary of the room. So now you can start by placing the space one by one. Make sure the tag on placement option is on so that you can see the tag over here, right? If you don't tick on it, you will find there will be no tag while you place the spaces on the rooms. Okay, so make sure the tag is there so that we don't need to provide tag later on. And you can manually place spaces one by one, or we have the option to place the spaces automatically in Revit. So the Revit, what it does is it automatically detects various boundaries when I click on it, and you will find that now it has added all the spaces in this particular floor. So I've added spaces in the first floor of our building. Okay, so we have added the spaces here. Now let's just click on one space. Let's see what details we get once we add the space. So you'll find that here you're getting the limit of it, which is the height of it. Okay, we'll look into that. Now we have the light calculation, the luminance and all that. We haven't added any lights, so once you start adding the lights, you'll be getting the average estimated luminance here. Okay, uh, this is for the lighting part. We have similar for the electrical load part for the HVAC load calculation. You can see we are getting the area, the perimeter, the volume, all those details over here. And similarly, we are also getting the mechanical flow, which is basically the details regarding the flow of air, like supply air flow, the total tonnage of the room. All this will be provided here. Right now, we haven't done the calculation, so we are not getting those options here. Okay, and below that you are getting the room number and room name, which was not specified before. So now you are getting the room name and room number, which was provided by the architecture in the room tag. Okay, but still our space hasn't changed the name with respect to that. We'll see that now. And below we have more options to give properties for the space for the calculation part. Okay, so right now the main thing which I want now is to change the space name, right, based on the architectural room tag. So in the older version, let's say on, if you're working on 17 of 17 version of Revit, uh, you have to do by selecting the space here. You have to go over here to the properties panel, and you have to click on the name and type the name manually. This is what we had to do if you are using a 17 version. Okay, so once you click on apply or once you click on enter, you will find that now we have the name over here. So just imagine how much time it takes for changing the name for each space if you have a larger file or a larger floor plan. So that is why Revit introduced an option called space naming starting from 17.2 version actually. So if you guys are working on versions after the 17, you'll be getting the option called space naming. Okay, so using a space naming option, you can click on it. It's very easy. Just click on space naming. You have the option to select what you want to extract from your architectural file to here. So they're asking you whether you want names and numbers, or names only, or numbers only, whatever you want. So you'll find now you are, this is a sample room tag. You're getting both the name and the number over here. If you click on name only, you will be only getting the name here. You can see the number is not getting extracted to here. So I want both here. I want the names and numbers here. So let me click on both and let's click OK and let's see what happens here. And you'll find now we are automatically getting the room names and room numbers getting extracted here automatically. So this is the new, not the new one. I mean, if you're working on a version after 17, you'll be getting the space naming option, which made it very easy for you guys to change the name of the rooms or the spaces. Okay. Now we have various other options here. We have the option to separate a space here. For example, let's say I'm selecting this corridor area. You will find that it's a larger area here. Okay, even the conference area here, it's a larger area. So let's say I want to divide a space into two separate spaces, right? So for that option, we can use a space separator to do the basically the separation of space. You can do the space separator option. To do it, we just click on the space separator. We have different profiles you can select between for creating a line or a division for the space. So I'll use a line here to divide a space here. So I'm going to divide the corridor into two. So right away here on the middle of the corridor, I'm going to create a line which breaks the space into two. You will find that now when I click on escape, you will find now when I select the corridor area, you are getting it like this. So we have separated the space into two, or actually we have just separated into one. You'll find that now in this area we don't have any space. I'm not able to select on any space here. Okay, so what I have to do again, I can click on space and I can place the space again here again. Okay, and let's see what happens when you change the name again. So this was not specified in your architectural file, so let's click on space naming and let's click OK here. Let's see what happens. And you'll find now the corridor is divided into two separate spaces like corridor 1 and corridor 2, right? And the name and the number is also being changed according to that. So using the space separator, in case if you want to do the calculation separately for a larger space, you can use a space separator option so that you will get the calculation for each space separately. Okay, so using a space separator, just create a line or a profile which divides a space, and then you can add a space here and you can do the calculation based on that. Okay. Similarly, we have an option called space tag over here, which is the same which I told you earlier. We have the tags coming up here. So in case when you place a space, if you forgot to add the tags here, you have to do it manually by. So let's say here we don't have the tag. So if you want to place a tag again, you can use a space tag and you'll be able to place the space tag over here. You'll find that the names and all are coming automatically over here. Okay, right? And the last one which we have in this panel is called zone. Okay, so zone is like the opposite of space separator. We have the zone option in which we can add two or more spaces and combine that into one single zone. Again, it helps you to do the calculation part in HVAC, where you want to create a single zone and you want to get the total load or total airflow for that particular zone. Let's say in this particular floor plan, I want to add these three offices spaces and I want to combine this into one single zone, so that when I do the calculation, I can get the total load for the three offices together. Let's say I'm going to place a single machine for the three spaces here. So if you want to know the total load required for that, it's better to create that as a single zone, right? So let me click on zone here, and now automatically they have selected this space here. So let me edit it. Okay, we are going to edit the zone and we have the option to remove the existing one and we can add new spaces here. So you can see that now we have the three spaces combined together, and when you click on finish, what you're creating is basically a zone here. So again, for zone you get various other properties, like now you're getting the total area of the three spaces together, you're getting the gross area, the occupied volume, the gross volume. All the details will be available on the properties panel again. Okay, and here we have the energy analysis, where we'll be getting the information regarding the cooling load and heating load calculations. Okay. Similarly, you can add or create zones as per your wish. You can go on selecting various spaces and you can create those as zones in Revit. Okay. So we have looked into this panel, but there is still more. As you can see here, we have the expanded panel here, which when you click here, you will find there is an option to even give colors for the spaces. Based on various other properties, you can give colors. So this helps you to identify spaces based on, let's say, a larger area to smaller area, or you want to see the spaces based on the numbers or the names, or based on purpose. Let's say any of those things. If you want to identify the spaces more easily, we can use the color scheme option here in spaces. Okay, so just click on your expanded panel and you'll find the color scheme option here. And by clicking on color schemes, you'll be getting a default scheme initially, as you can see here. Right now the scheme is based on the names, so you'll find that these are all based on names. You won't find two classrooms or three offices here. It's all combined into one, so wherever you have the same name, you'll be getting the same color over there. Okay, so let me just right click here, rename it, and I'm going to put this as name. So this is a color scheme based on name, let's say. Similarly, you can duplicate this one and you can create another one. Let's say the next one I want to create is for based on number, let's say. Okay, number, and I want to create one more color scheme based on area. Right? Okay, I haven't changed it. I just created two new duplicates. So let me click on the number here, and inside the color, you can see here we have the option to select the colors based on the numbers. Okay, so now we have the colors based on numbers here. Similarly, the area, let's click here. Let's say this is based on area of the room. So area can be different because you don't want to see it like based on values like this. Okay, let's say I want to give a range of values like from us 1 meter to 10 meter. I want to add all those spaces into one single colors. So you can give by range option here, and you'll find that now you have like 0 to 20 and 20. That's it. So you can add various ranges here. Okay, you can see we can add as much as you want based on the larger area, and if you want, you can also modify the colors provided here. Okay, so I'm not changing it right now, but if you guys want to change the colors of your space, you can click here and you have the option to change the colors of the particular space in the color schemes. Okay, so right now we have three color schemes here. We have one based on name, another one based on number, and this one based on area, but I have given by range, not by value. Okay, so let's click on OK or apply anything. And if you want to see those color schemes in your drawing window, uh, in your spaces right over here, you have to go for the color fill panel here. Just beside the space and zones in the same tab, the Analyze tab, you'll find the color fill panel where you have the option to add legends for the color fill. So let me click on the color fill legend. We'll start by placing one legend here, and they're asking you what type of space type, what type of color scheme you want to choose here. So I want to create it for the spaces, and when you click on the color scheme, you will find various schemes here which we created earlier. So let's say I want to start by giving a color scheme based on name. Let's click OK. So you'll find that now for the spaces having the same names, you are getting the same colors here. Okay, let's just change it. So if you want to change the color scheme, you can just click on the legend here, click on edit scheme, and you have the option to select, let's say, number here. So numbers are more because we have each spaces now having different colors because the numbers were unique for each space. So you'll find that each space has now a different color based on the number. Okay, let's go for the last one, which is based on area, right? So let's click OK here. see what is happening. So you'll find that now what you're getting is basically based on the area you're getting by range value. So you'll find that those which are less than 10 meters square are these areas. You can see these are all having less than 10 meters square. Those which are coming over here 20 to 30, which are I think this ones. Okay, so even if you click here, you will find that the area of this particular space is coming between 20 to 30, right? So to identify the spaces more like more easily based on any of the properties, you can actually add the color schemes and you can view that in your drawing window. So in case if you want to remove it later on, you can click on the drawing region, edit scheme, you can put none. So you can hide those what do you call it, the legends from your drawing window, or you also have the option to hide it. I mean, just to hide it from your drawing window by going for the visibility graphics option in Revit, which comes over here in view visibility graphics. You'll find the spaces option here under the mechanical category. So when you expand, you will find the color fill turned on now. If you untick it, you won't be seeing the color fill here. So you can hide or unhide your color schemes at any time by using the visibility graphics option. By going here, and again if I tick on it again, you will be finding the color fill happening. Okay, so you have all these options coming up inside the spaces, and we'll be talking about the calculation part in the upcoming sessions. Okay, about how to do the HVAC cooling load calculations using Revit. Mostly I won't be preferring that because we have a lot of dedicated softwares just to do the calculation for that. But in case if you guys want to know more about it, you can ask me in the comments. So I'll be putting up a session in the upcoming weeks regarding the HVAC cooling load, like how to do the cooling load calculation in Revit and how to generate a report from that. So guys, if you want to know more about those options, just please do comment below, and we'll find more about in the upcoming sessions. Okay, right. Yeah, good morning guys, good morning all of you. Right. So I'll be winding up the session for today. Hope you had an informative session. Uh, we'll be looking into more of the Revit software for the MEP in the upcoming sessions. We'll be mostly focusing on the MEP tools from the next session. So still, if you guys haven't subscribed to our channel, do subscribe to it. Like the videos, keep updated with our channel, and in the upcoming session for tomorrow, again we have the SolidWorks a live session coming up tomorrow by my colleague Nijesh. Uh, you will find it more interesting because SolidWorks can be a lot helpful for creating 3D model. Uh, Even you can actually uh, work on it for various mechanical parts, and uh, even for the family creation, sometimes we use SolidWorks to create those family parts in Revit. So SolidWorks is a very good software. Keep updated with that, guys. So we have the session coming up tomorrow at the at 11 a.m. Indian time and 9:30 GST time. Okay, so hopefully see you guys in next week. Keep updated. Uh, Stay home, stay safe. Take care.